The question is, the time and space fabric sustains the duality. It creates the objects separated by each other and all that. So when you want to transcend the duality, that's when the meditation is the way to do it. And like I said, the path has been set up by the consciousness itself. It's an evolutionary phenomenon that is happening at our mind level. And at the mind level, once you come out of the duality concept, that's the only time you're going to have peace. Because duality is going to bind you, right? So the question is, like, when you say the duality, because of the limited pleasures and all that, the experiences that you collect at the mind level also going to be different, right? So there is no heaven or there is no hell. You know, it's all these spiritual planes set at the mind level. And even in Christianity, you know, Christ said that in my Father's room there are many mansions. So as you go deeper and deeper into meditation, you're going to explore more and more depths. And
7 levels.
7 levels, right. That's what
Samadhi has 7 levels.
Right. So as you keep going deeper and deeper, these are the experiences. Heavens and hells and all these are just experiences. And whether they exist outside or not, it really doesn't matter. And it doesn't actually, you know. So it's all the experiences at the experiential level. That's where all these depths and the heights of the spirituality exist. So mind is basically given to us, you know, and the mind exists, but so do the dreams exist. But do they really exist? We don't know, right? You know, we have an experience of the dreams, and the dreams are so real to us. At the same time, when we wake up, we laugh, and we say, well, it's a joke. You know, we laugh at it. So we use the mind. Mind is an instrument given to us by the consciousness, right? So we use it to exist in this world, to see the dreams at night. But in a deep sleep, every night, we go back to the consciousness, where the dreams disappear, the world disappears, but we exist. And there is no mind there. So we can still exist without the mind. Even though mind is so extremely helpful to us during the daytime, watching the dreams and all these things. But once everything is shut off, we still exist. So every night, we go back into the lap of our mother consciousness.
So where does it go that time?
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's like, where did the dream go?
Why you want to know?
No,
Take
dreams-
rest.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No,
My
it's
point
fine.
is,
It's a legitimate
like,
question.
It's a life, like a life, your life. But mind is also, I mean, it is something.
Relative.
Yes.
It's relative.
Now, where
right?
does it go when you are in deep sleep?
Where did the dream go? Once you woke up, where did the dream go?
Uh,
Last night I told Deepak, I mean, we ran like 6-7 miles yesterday, right?
Okay.
And then I had such a deep sleep. And in the mind, last night I had like horrible dream, right? So it was like we were taken over by some Chinese, you know, like, and it was so real. Like we were like in a medical school. Then all of a sudden they say, well, evacuate the first floor immediately and this and that. So we did that, and me and my wife were trapped in one of the rooms, and we couldn't get out. And then now these big machineries were coming in there, things like that. It was like a horrible experience. I had to wake up a few times to make sure that it's not real. And then I was so tired though. I just went back to sleep again, kept watching the same stupid dream. And then we woke up, it's gone. It was just an experience. The same way the universe is an experience. Universe doesn't exist. It's a product of the mind. The mind produces all this.
Goes back into consciousness.
Goes back into, everything merges back into the consciousness. Just the way before you started seeing the dream, you had the mind, right? Your mind created imaginary figures and then got destroyed and merged back into the mind. So it was just a fig of imagination. The same way this is imagination, except we are part of it. That's the only difference. But what happens to the characters? When they are in the dream, it's so real. Man, it was scary last night. For the first time I realized what it is involves to lose the freedom. He says, now we're going to have to act according to the Chinese. And now we laugh, right? But at that time it was so real. So all the characters take it so real. In the dream, everybody behaves according to the reality, whether it's so real. And they say, so we do. And that's why we have so many questions. That's why I said, are we a spiritual entity having a human experience? Or we are human beings trying to become spiritual? It's a very fine line. So mind is at a very consciousness. It's like a ripple. It's the ocean has the waves. So the ocean has the waves. Are the waves ocean? Yes, they are. They always have been ocean, but once the waves go down, they're still an ocean. It was an ocean to begin with. While they were there, they're still ocean. It's another form. But then when it merges back into the ocean, still the ocean. So ocean was never not there. So the consciousness is never not there. Consciousness is always there. So this is all consciousness. And that's what it is, right? So the consciousness basically, what does it creates these pictures for us to enjoy. And we are enjoying all this show, right? So it's like puppets. We are being continuously handled by the puppets. The characters in the dream cannot have their independent ego. They cannot break off from the dream and escape from the dream and do whatever they want to. So it shows the flimsiness of the ego. What is the need for ego? There is no need for ego. So if we really look at the whole thing as a dream, our job in the dream becomes to perform the roles to the max. And then, but always think of the consciousness. So, same way, like I said, the space and time are the creations of the mind. Now, if the mind does not exist, because there is a situation where the mind doesn't exist, and we are in a deep sleep, right? So theoretically, where is birth? Where is death? There is no life, right? So you transcend all those notions. These are all notions of the birth and death and all those things. So drop the doership and let the consciousness act through you. So whatever actions you perform, if you're performing without your own self-motive, then the consciousness shines through you. And then the thing is that, but still you cannot deny the existence of the universe, right? The only way to exist in the universe is to act without getting yourself attached to it. The moment you attach, you're getting caught in a time and space fabric. Like if you have a shrub in front of you, a few months back or a few years back, it was a seed. And a few months from now, it's going to be a dead tree. So they say the only way to enjoy the consciousness in front of you as it is, think of the seed and think of a dead tree at the same time. Bring it into the reality and just see. The change is always there. See, if you're looking for a constant factor, if you think of a tree and you like the tree so much and you get attached to it, you're not going to like it when it dies.
Yeah, correct.
At the same time, you know, when you think of the seed, it makes you realize that how far it has come from the seed level up to here. If you see a beautiful girl, think of her 20 years from now or 20 years before. It's a constant change. The only thing that is constant is the change. And the change is God. Change is the consciousness. That is the vision that we have to develop. Then only you don't get attached to the objects in front of you, right? So to do that, these are all the methods we have put down, and we went through yam, niyams, renunciations, and all those things, right? The renunciation does not have to take place at the object level. It has to take place at the mind level. Because we are talking about, these are the experiments of the mind, not of the physical body. So nobody says that you have to leave this world and go into the jungles and things like this. That's not renunciation. You perform every single action that you're required to do without getting attached. So renunciation has to take place at the mind level.
Mind level,
right? So the next is the right posture. So sitting straight up is more important. So again, we are preparing the journey towards meeting the consciousness. So part of that is the meditation. So how you sit in the meditation is important. And the asanas, you know, there are a lot of things we are never going to be able to question, because these are the things which are said by our rishis. He says, why not do meditation like that? That's what they say, just sit straight. So sit straight.
Yeah.
So they say the prana flows more smoothly, you know, if you have a sitting straight.
for sure.
Right? So they say also any posture which ultimately is not going to create any discomfort in your body, certain posture, you try to do it, and then 10 minutes later, it's going to start hurting you. It's not worth it. So any comfortable posture, as long as your spine is erect, that's important. And then you can focus your attention to the self rather than worrying about your body. These knees are aching and ankles are aching and things like that. So then next they're talking about is the Siddhasana. Now what is Siddhasana? Siddha Asana. What is Siddha? Siddha means that is proven. Siddha Samadhi Yoga, right? Something that is proven. Somebody, when you sit in that posture, you have to act, think, and perceive at a mind level that you are in a Siddha state, that you already transcended all the dualities and all the discomforts, and you have bypassed all these things, you have reached to the enlightenment zone. And that is a Siddha state. Whether you are there or not doesn't matter, but that is the meaning of Siddhasana. It's not just the physical posture, it is more than just the physical posture. It's the integration of your total inside, the mind and your thinking, your intellect, logic, and everything, and then self can flow better. So Siddhasana is important. The next is Muladhara. Then when you concentrate on Muladhara chakra, the reason basically you concentrate on the Muladhara, which is the anal area, because that's considered the root of all the prana, that all the prana is going to flow from there. So one of the methods of the meditation is to concentrate on Muladhara chakra in the beginning, and then little by little, So at that time, again, it's not just the physical posture. You think how the consciousness is the root of all the dual manifestations, right? So it's almost like a tree that came out from the roots. So that is the root from which all the trees have come out. So when you think of the roots, you forget about the tree, right? It's because the trees can differ. One tree can be different than the other tree, but all the root systems are pretty much the same. So when you think of the root, that's how you're going to meet the consciousness, without any differentiations, without any projections, without any dualities, without anything. So your mind is going to be becoming more and more steady. So when you think of the Muladhara, that's what you do. And the next one is the Dehasana, is like when you hold your body steady. Remember, Srut Prajnaji says that if a vessel is not steady, the oil inside the vessel cannot be steady. So remaining calm and in a fixed posture, whatever may be, comfortable posture, but you have to hold your body steady. Otherwise, emotions are going to keep disturbing, right? So steady body, but again, that again is just the physical posture, but at the same time, steadiness of the mind is more important. So when you steady your mind and the body, and then ultimately merge into the realization of the consciousness. So this is almost like if you just hold the body steady and not the mind, and not even think about it and concentrate too much on the posture, you're really missing the point. He compares, Shankaracharya compares with, this is like a dead tree standing versus a live tree standing. I mean, think of the prana that has to flow, right? So you have to look at your body as a total entity, not just a physical structure. Physical structure doesn't mean nothing. If you have a dead tree standing, it's not doing anything. But think of a live tree where continuously there is a flow of the nourishment coming from the soil through the capillaries, reaching to the top, and it's a continuous process. So much life is in there. So when you meditate, you look at yourself as a live tree, where the roots is sucking in the prana and it's continuously flowing. That vibrance or the chaitanya, I don't know if there is any word in English for the chaitanya.
No, there is no word.
Chaitanya is chaitanya, right? So you feel that liveliness or vibrance or whatever you call that is going to fall short. But when you meditate, that's what you focus on. And you forget about the duality, forget about the forms, forget about the objects, forget about the situations. And you just concentrate on that chaitanya. That's all I can tell. So you focus on that chaitanya and you merge with it. The next is the steadiness of the gaze. Again, some of the people, they recommend to focus on the tip of the nose. I mean, these are all different methods. I'm not saying one is better than the other or anything like that. But again, they say that it's just a physical gesture. But again, the deeper meaning is to steadiness of the mind. It's not just focusing on the tip of the nose or just one place, you know. So
Tip of the nose, why they are saying when you sleep, in the deep sleep, your prana is on the tip of the nose.
I see. So that's probably
Yeah.
right.
So that's why it was that method was found.
Right. But Chinmayanand says that to just keep doing that and getting too much involved,
No.
you may have a crossed eye, right?
You may.
You may end up it's just a physical expression.
Just
See,
like that drama, you know.
right.
કે મારી સાસુ એટલી બાળી છે કે ડાબી આંખનું આંસુ જમણા ગાલ પર પડે છે. એના જેવું.
You know, it was that one of that joke was that cross-eyed guy was hired it with a security department. He said, "Why did you hire? Because nobody can make sure where he's looking at, right?" So he's the best guy for our security. So nobody will be able to steal. You know, so they think he's watching. He's not watching it.
We need one here.
So, but say that's just a physical. So when we look at the meditation, meditation is an internal process. It's all about inside. It's all about your mind. It's not about the physical gestures or physical postures and physical thing and all that. That's exactly what we're doing the meditation for. We're trying to forget the world and get into the spiritual zone. So at that time, all these things have a deeper meaning at the spiritual level. So Siddhasana, all these pranayams and all these things, they're at the spiritual place, right? Pranayam we're going to get into later. That also has a very deeper spiritual meaning. So they say they see the consciousness everywhere. The same thing. Until you meditate yourself and you realize the consciousness inside, it's all microcosm and macrocosm, right? Whatever you want to see in the world, you have to see inside first. So until you meditate, you're not going to be able to see God everywhere. Because you don't know God. You don't know consciousness. Until you converse with the consciousness on a regular basis, it doesn't become a reality for you. So to realize the presence of consciousness everywhere, you have to realize within you. So everything is all inward journey. See, the mind takes you down and out. Spirituality takes you in and up. So it's exactly a different flow. So that's what the journey has to go in and up. Right? So steadiness of gaze is ultimately to steady your mind and then merge into the highest state. Right? So once the mind ends, Brahma starts. So that's where the consciousness takes over. So the mind has to be transcended. When you focus on, say, the nose, the whole idea is because when you focus on the nose, what is involved in focusing at the nose? You are the subject, nose is the object, and you're seeing the nose. So the seer, seen, and the process of seeing. Three things exist. That's the triology. That's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? So those are the tri-legged existence of the duality. But we have to transcend that. So it is just like a physical experiment to concentrate on the nose and this and that. But the deeper meaning is to go beyond that. Because the subject, object, and the experience is something that has become the day-to-day experience for us. Every single thing we do, every single process that we do involves the presence of subject, object, and the connection between the two. And when we want to go beyond that, that's the only time that consciousness will come out, is if you see the subject as a consciousness, object as a consciousness, and the process of communication as a consciousness also, then everything becomes consciousness. Then you transcend the duality. Because duality involves three legs. And we don't realize to enjoy every single thing that we do in life, it basically involves the awareness, existence, as we talked about. So it starts with our awareness, our existence first actually. We have to exist first. Object has to exist first. Awareness has to communicate with each other. And then the experience starts. But when we want to go beyond all these things, that's when merge into consciousness, right? So somebody asked Michelangelo, he said, how do you make beautiful statues out of a block of the stone? They said, well, it's not that difficult. I just remove the stones that don't belong there. The statue was always there. So when we do go deeper into meditation, we just have to remove the clutter. When we remove the clutter, God manifests.
It's a good way to describe our retreat.